Okay, so I got the um, Jazwares Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron um, Shuttle Tyderium. This is from Return of the Jedi. Well, I guess this and the other one that they had was really both from Return of the Jedi. Here's the box, taking it out. See here. And this is the one, Series 7, and I'm not sure which one is the one with the Emperor and the Royal Guards. I think probably a Imperial pilot. I think those are the four that it came with. But that one was slightly different. Like they had a throne chair on the inside. And this is not a review. This is just basically me just kind of differentiating this from the previous version. So this has the rebels with Han Solo, Chewbacca, and two like indoor rebel soldiers, and pretty cool. This was normally I think 20 something, maybe originally in the 30s when it first came out, but it's been slowly going down. And at least Target and I think Amazon usually follows. It recently went on sale to $17 or $13, something like that. I think it was actually even $13 or so, or 14 basically, and plus tax, whatever. But still, for something in this size, what does this consider? This is beyond Starfighter. This is a Starship class, I guess. So even Dreadnought. I'm not familiar with all the variations and the ship lines, which classification this actually falls under. I wonder if it says on the box. Should somewhere. Oh, Starship class. So yeah. Anyways, this is always one of my favorite starships from Return of the Jedi and Star Wars in general. Just the way the big wings here and the way they came out and they angled outwards, and I just really like the look of this cockpit. This really was something that I liked, the shape, something about this. And I remember there used to be these battery powered like 1 or 2 double A's or something like that, monster trucks. They're about fit in my hand if I can recall, smaller than maybe around this area or so. Big tires, and maybe something came out of the center of them, but they were like really kind of sci-fi-ish, and they just motorized and they just went in one direction. That was it. But they were pretty cool. They got really big tires and they look really cool. And there's one, at least one, possibly two now that I think about it, where the cockpit of the front part of that monster truck looked almost just like this. And I think there was one that was in white, and maybe I definitely know there was one in blue, and it was kind of like a police theme. And then you used to have one other one with not quite like this, but then I remember it was camouflage, and it had like maybe a cockpit or driver's side that was offset to the side and had these little missile on top. I really wish I could remember what line of toy that was back then. But anyways, I just really liked the way that looked on that monster truck, and because it reminded me, it looked so much like this, the way it was designed, like this. You know what I'm talking about, you know. But going back to this, it's very cool. Except the only thing I had an issue with is the weathering, and everything looks like it was basically weathered on the front, and basically the wings that are detached right now. Let me get one of them like here, and this could probably use with a little bit more, but overall, at least you can tell they did attempt at weathering and some panel line. And the other one is basically the same. And of course, the large, we call it the dorsal fin that goes on top, exhibits some of that too. And that's cool. So basically, all the extremities of this thing, from the wings here, the ones that are outboard, right, the left and right side, and the cockpit, will basically have some bit of weathering and panel line, but surprisingly, all the middle section of the main body, and even on this underside part, only mainly this part of the cockpit was more weathered on this upper half, but everything else underneath, inside, especially, you can see it. It's pretty dark, but I just weathered it actually. That's the thing. I'm just trying to explain that. And even the back here, didn't even have all this. It was all pretty clean looking, even around the engines. and I was thinking of getting in there more, like where it's blue around the inside, but I was worried that the panel lining that I was doing to wash would get into the blue part too much, and I didn't want to make those like, panel lined. I just wanted them to be bright blue, so I kind of held off on trying to do anything inside there. But everything else, like this space, this channel, whatever you call it, this gap that has all the greybling around it, that I did add some weathering to, you can see. But yeah, it was just much neat because it was weird that the body was completely clean and you couldn't see any of this panel lining. And all this stuff in here, especially up inside there, that all needed some, especially down here, it was all clean, and that needed some work. And so that's what I've been doing, and I think it's looking a lot better, and I'm pretty good with it. Other thing that was disappointing when I got this, as soon as I got this, I think it was earlier today, it got delivered from Amazon, was when I was looking at inside the box, the way sometimes to wrap it up in these rubber bands, and I noticed that this one is a rubber band going across this way inside, when it's inside the plastic blister pack inside the box, that this one was really angled inwards, so that kind of deformed or like really bent in this way. I said, great, because I don't really have the space for this, but I guess I have to start opening up the box and taking it out, because I wanted to release the rubber bands and see if I can get this to not, I figured it was pulling on this, and that's why it was really angled inwards. You can kind of see it still is a little bit, but not nearly as bad, and I kind of have to I'm just like pulling or pushing on the inside and just trying to hold and like that, trying to get it to center better. At least it doesn't look like it's aimed. It was really looking pretty bad. It's a very noticeable angle, and I say, okay, maybe I can just move it. But then I discover there's actually two pieces to this. The bottom cannons part of it is softer, and that's up here, this with the shielded part is actually harder, and that's the bulk of this. And the way it's mounted on the inside, maybe see there, it's I'm sorry, zoom in a bit. And this one was fine, and then this one was really angled in. I was like, what the heck's going on? And then I just suspect maybe on this side, the way the piece was made or cut, there was extra plastic on the base of this, and so when they just stuck this in and this, okay, it's holding, whatever, there's a piece that's not allowing it to sit flatter on the side, so it's kind of pushing and angling out this way. And I'm not entirely sure, I can't really tell because I don't really, so tight in there I can't really see. And yeah, so basically I just have to keep pushing this over and just getting it to bend back straighter. I may keep doing that. Eventually, I think if I get it to a good spot, I may try to drop in a bit of crazy glue and just fill in, glue it, and also sort of fill in the spacing there with when that super glue hardens, or hopefully be a piece that just fills up and won't allow this to, as I do this, it causes a little bit of a gap on the inside, so if I can fill that in, let that harden, then this shouldn't really go back to bending in, which it kind of still wants to do, but it's a lot better than it was. So that's the main thing I gotta remedy there. Otherwise, the rest of this is pretty much done. Just gotta fit the wings on. Hopefully, I think snap fitting these certain wings on these micro galaxies can be notoriously difficult. Like they take a more force than you think you'd want, or they should, and you don't want to break anything. And especially I hear like the wings, if they have a bit of wash on them, as they tend to, that might just add just enough of a layer to make it difficult to fully push in and secure, potentially, but we shall see. So then I guess take some thinner or alcohol or something to basically clean that up before I try to stick it in there, which I may do, so then at least it'll give it a slightly better chance right off the bat of just pushing it in and getting it a good perfect, snap fit without any more struggles. Other than that, maybe I may want to get it here. I don't know if I want to detail up inside there. I probably should, but to be honest, I think this is a button to close it, which is kind of neat. I don't think I'm trying to avoid having this in landed mode. This looks best with the wings extended, but because of that, it takes up maximum amount of space. And again, if I open these landing gears, there should be some things in there that probably should be painted or weathered or have a wash to just darken the inside of those parts, right? Which I may just quickly do. It's not a big deal, but I just want to be done and set this aside and figure out how the heck I'm going to fit this into my really cramped display case right now. Let me just show you real quickly. And so this is what I got basically on the upper half of the shell. Transformers on the bottom and to this side, which I need to figure out too, because there are a few more things incoming sooner or later. I think Soundwave and eventually I think there's a Combaticon all the way back there. If we finish one more combiner, which would be Bruticus, the Combaticons, then that will definitely need some rearranging here to get that all to fit. I'll worry about that later. It's going to be a little bit until that set is complete anyways, and we shall see. But we're talking about Micro Galaxy, so that's what I got, and it's okay right now, but I know there's just no room for the shuttle, but I had to get it just because it was I always like the ship, and for $13-14-ish dollars, I think it's pretty reasonably priced for what it is. So just get it, and I'll figure out how to find a place for it later. But I think some of these I'm getting some stands from Kevin's custom stands. Forget what his Etsy. He has Kevin's Micro Galaxy, reviews or something like that, right? And on YouTube, and he has his own Etsy thing that he has these like these stands here, the black ones, custom made for these things. So you see the Reapers on that, which these are such a good price now. They're like under $10 in certain places. It's crazy. Who would have thought this $30-something would have been end up under 10 in a relatively short amount of time too? I don't know why. Are they really that hard to sell? If I'd known, it would have been good to wait and save at least about $20. But it is what it is. I got it. And so yeah, you can angle them. So I'm going to have to lift some of these guys up, and then to create some space below them, and I can start to, intermingle them a little bit more instead of just having them all flat on one level, right? That's going to help out. I think I'm going to fit one, raise it up high enough. Some of these come at different heights, and I think one might be high enough to be right coming off the back there and across the top of the, right over the Ghost. And maybe another one, if I offset this a bit, and I'll come off of here and come off of this side of the Ghost. And get a stand for that. That will be tricky. Some stands they're just only one height, like this one, and it'll be exactly or very close to the bottom of this. And I don't have a hell of a lot of space. This thing is incredibly long, the U-wing. So I'm trying to find about a 3-inch riser, kind of like this, but small, about 3 inches high and not too wide, to set it on and up to just enough, not be that close to the top, because you want some breathing space. You don't want to be butt up against it underneath there, right? And then that'll clear some space below it to add some more things and so forth. And then there's on this side again, get some stands to rearrange and better kind of sort of stack them, but not physically on top, but just kind of on different levels a bit with this varying heights of the stands. And we'll see after that, because I know eventually the TIE Advanced, not TIE Advanced, well, TIE Advanced prototype, the one that's you see chasing the that's in Star Wars Rebels by the Inquisitors, and you see it chasing Andor in the TIE Avenger, which I'm also getting too. Eventually, it's been pre-ordered. That'll have to find its way into here somewhere. And what else? For the foreseeable future, I know they're gonna have a Y-wing bomber, which a Republic one from the Clone Wars, which I've been dying for them to put out. And so, because I like the Y-wings, kind of my favorite out of all the Star Wars or the Rebel fleet. So at least I guess it was back when they were a Republic. And so that's going to be cool because I know they have one. We saw a preview of it at one of those Comic Cons or something. What was it? The one in the Disney thing in Japan. With the Star Wars Celebration in Japan. But they did preview somewhere and I saw that they had like a Captain Rex. So it's a blue version of the Republic Y-wing bomber. And that's going to be cool. I can't wait till they should make the other colors. I want to get it in the classic yellow as well. You know, they can do Anakin's version, and they can do like the group that he flies with that has a slightly different yellow paintings on it. That's part of his the one that would attack the Malevolence, and I'm sure there's certainly other ones throughout the Clone Wars. And I really hope they eventually make a Republic attack shuttle, because it's totally something I could see them making, and it's such a prevalent transport or ship or starship basically in the Clone Wars, especially. You've seen it in quite a number of episodes, and it's a really cool design. They need to make that. That would be awesome. The only thing that came close to that was, well, there was a action figure version from Hasbro a while ago, several years now, and that was pretty cool. But it's big because it has to fit those 3.75 inch action figures, which I guess these days they call them vintage series. But yeah, that was way back a bit, and I wouldn't have space for that. And the next closest thing that's fairly close to the scale is Revel used to make some snap together kits. You just cut them, they're all pre-painted basically, and they come with little figures, and I think they're about this scale as the Micro Galaxy Squadron. They're fairly damn close. And there was a Republic assault shuttle that for some stupid reason I had held off for the longest time. And that was the only version that was really detailed and it looked really good. Actually, it could pass as one of these, I think, fairly easily. And now I can't find it anymore. The last time was several months ago, and very few examples, and they were pretty expensive for that. So I'm just hoping eventually Jazwares makes that, because I think there's a lot of, again, anything with the Republic, fleet, ships, there's certainly different, like the gunships, for example, they can do so many variations and battalions, right, and custom versions of it that we've seen throughout the show, right? So it's definitely reusable. So I think that would be awesome that they can eventually do that, because look, Bad Batch, that's pretty much a one-off ship, right? And they did redo one with just some added blast marks and maybe details similar to the Ghost. Again, another very one-off ship, and it's a huge one too. And same with Ahsoka's shuttle, the T6, right? Stuff like that. They have been known to do very particular models, starship designs that don't really necessarily have that many possible variations. So I don't think it's all about being able to reuse the same mold and just repaint it, right? Anyways, back to this. So you just try to add that last bit of weathering wash to the inside of the landing gears and snap this thing together and set it aside and figure out a place to put this. Might have to put it in its own separate mini display case for the time being until I can find a way to integrate it into that other display case, or I get an even larger one that can hold more. That's about it. Just wanted to share this, and I think you haven't seen the whole thing, but I think you can tell, like, just if you own this, or you've seen channels that have reviewed it, you know that this part is a part that sticks out, that's like way too clean compared to the rest of it, and this definitely adds a hell of a lot more detail that ties everything together. That's what I'm looking for. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.